No work-life balance at work. Tired, exhausted, overworked. Reclaim your life back. Hi, my name is Christina Garidi from Eudaimonia Coaching UK, and today's topic is about how to set boundaries at work. If you feel like you have no work-life balance, welcome to the club. A lot of my clients actually struggle with time management and their workload. And don't get me wrong, they are very ambitious and working hard is second nature to them. But no matter how hard they work, there aren't enough hours in the day. They end up compromising their family time, their personal time, their weekends, their holidays in order to be able to keep performing well and be at the top of their game. But this is not really a game that is winnable, especially the way they're playing it. It's it ends up with diminishing returns. They will end up burning out just for the pride of working overtime. That's not what we want. So I want to share today with you some of the strategies that I have actually employed and come up with that have worked for me, but also how I help my clients set sustainable boundaries at work and actually succeed in what they do. So let's start with step number 1, which is making sure you have that conversation, whether with your manager or with your colleagues. And this is a dignified conversation about what your boundaries are. So you may need to, you don't need to dramatize it in terms of, you need to go to the contracts and dig out, what are your working hours and take it with HR and all of this. None of that. But actually say, look, guys, I know you're my team, I know I want to help, but actually it hasn't worked out for me to keep compromising my weekends every single month, every single week for the last 8 months. This is not good for me. This is not good for my family. I'm not going to be able to do that, to carry on doing that. So it's really about, really having that conversation, and don't just have that conversation, actually get them to agree with you that they will respect your boundaries. And you need to be clear about the behaviors you expect to see, how they treat you. And for example, don't text me during Saturday, don't expect me to answer. Okay, you can say that nicer, but this is the essence of it. So make sure you get an agreement. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to expect that people are not going to change just because you made an announcement, an agreement with them, right? People are habitual creatures. So when you set a boundary, expect it to be challenged. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. It is because people are trying to defend their boundaries, but things happen, circumstances change, and they will need your help, right? They're calling upon you because you are reliable, because you're a top performer, because they know you can get the job done. But here is the trick. Be helpful, come from a place and intention of supporting them, but briefly remind them the boundary, okay, the agreement that you have made that, hey guys, we're not supposed to be texting weekends, okay? Obviously, they're going to justify why they're doing that because they're aware. But here is the key. Offer them an alternative solution. Give them a choice. However, make sure that choice, that alternative solution respects your boundary, your agreement, okay? Make sure you don't work that weekend, but give them an alternative choice that respects your boundaries. So it might be within working hours. Can we let go of this and do this instead? I really want to help you. So come from that place. Alternative solution, helpful, but respecting your boundary. Now, in case you have to say no, just don't use the word no. I'll give you an example. You can say things like, unfortunately, I have prior commitments and I won't be able to do this thing. However, what about, and give them the alternative solution, okay? Don't use the word no, especially in English. The word no is very confrontational, or at least this is how it is perceived. It might be taken very personally, which is what you don't want, especially when the other side is anxious or stressed out. That's why they're reaching out to you, right? It's an exception. They're reaching out to you to help them. It might sound a little bit too personal to say no. So find other words to decline or offer them help, but in a different way, okay? Without compromising your boundary. Now, there's another thing that I want you to keep in mind, especially at the very beginning, depending on the relationships you have with your manager or with your colleagues, situations like that might get actually quite confrontational. So if the other side starts being degrading or offensive to you, here is what you need to do. Remain calm. Don't take it personally. They're just throwing a wobbly, okay? And be smiley, helpful, and follow the broken record method, which is keep repeating your boundary in a helpful and compassionate way. So you may need to say things like, we have agreed this already. I'm afraid I cannot change my prior commitments at this time, but I would love to help you by and offer your alternative solution. And if they keep challenging you about what do you have to do, what's so much more important than getting this proposal out to the client? Don't you want to get your bonus? And are you really considering this is, a serious, job for you if you're not going to do anything it takes to do it? So if they start being really confrontational, just remain calm and keep repeating, unfortunately, I cannot move my prior commitments. I would love to help you. What about we do this? And don't change your line. Just in times of high pressure, keep repeating something in a calm manner until the other side realizes that you're not going to give up or give in your boundary. Okay, if you keep repeating the same thing, it's going to be silly for them to keep challenging you. They're going to realize that the wall is not moving. Okay, so use the broken record method in order to be able to come out of that confrontational situation should you ever need to go down that route. Another point that I want you to remember, especially when things get high pressure, is to resist giving justifications and reasons why you cannot make an exception on the boundary and the agreement that you already have. If you start doing this, saying, oh, because I've got my child's party, or I cannot miss this because I'm going out with my girls, whatever the reason might be, you start eroding your position. Nothing is going to seem to the other side more important. Whatever you say is not going to be more important than their job, what they need to get done, for which they're asking your exception to your boundaries, right? So please don't give them any reasons. Remain firmly within your boundary and just announce your decision, whether it's a yes or a no, okay? But without saying the word no. Last but not least, when there's gonna be a time where you're gonna need to make an exception, okay? Emergencies occur, and I want you to be just realistic that they might happen. But there is a trick here. Don't assume anything. Don't take for granted that once an emergency has happened and you have made an exception to your boundary, that people will resume the previous agreement that you had. Because what's happening? You would have set a precedence, a bad precedence, right? That if somebody throws a wobbly or brings in a drama situation, that you're willing to cave into your boundaries. So if that happens and you don't reset the boundary back to the previous agreement, then people will basically have learned that if they throw a drama, then you cave in, which is not what we want them to learn. So once an emergency has completed itself and you have helped the person in the best way that you could by making an exception to your boundary, just remind them that from next week, we only do these types of things between working hours. Is that okay? And get their agreement. So that you know they have acknowledged and they remember your boundary, and this was just a very exceptional situation. I hope these tips were helpful for you to start reclaiming your life back, your time and your personal time at work, and actually have some methods in order to maintain your boundaries in a way that you can start having your work-life balance back. If you found this video helpful, please do share it with whoever needs to hear it. And if you want more exclusive content like this one, join us on my Facebook group, Purposeful Career, and the link, you'll find it either in my bio in the comments or in the post itself. Good luck and let me know how you got on. Take care. Bye.